And hi, Mr. Goldberg. This is what's available of our group right now. We are using Google Circle Hangouts on Air to do our mediated
Hi
presentations.
guys, I'm gonna give the presentation about something that affected us and is still affecting some of us. What I'm talking about is the drinking age being 21, and many people don't realize the uh, the serious effects it has on the younger people that include health effects, drinking and driving, and all the other problems related with alcohol. But little background on the whole beer and alcohol is the earliest alcohol is made from berries and honey. So if you think about that, probably was a mistake and they made it and they just decided to keep it going. But today alcohol is made from the fermentation of natural sugars in fruits, vegetables, and grains. And that's why when you walk into a liquor store today, you see so many different types of alcohol and beer and stuff because there's so many different ways to make it. And those the fermentations are then brewed and distilled into a wide range of beverages and various alcohol contents. So, and then in America, before Prohibition, many states did not even have a drinking age. So, thinking like way back in the day, you were able to drink whenever you wanted. So you could drink when you're 10 if you wanted. Didn't really matter. But then in 1920, U.S. passed a law preventing the manufacturing, sale, import, and export of alcohol, known as Prohibition, which lasted a couple years until um, there was the illegal trade of alcohol boomed, and by 1933, Prohibition was canceled. So that didn't work, and that's when they realized that they can't keep people from alcohol. So they decided to bring it back with drinking ages. And in between that and around 1984, the drinking ages in states varied from state to state. And a lot of states kept it at 18 because that's when you were able to vote. So to get votes, they would influence the younger people, the new voters, that they lower the drinking age so they should get their vote, which probably worked in a lot of cases. But then in 1884, a bill was passed called the National Minimum Drinking Age Act of 1844, which forbid possession and purchasing of alcohol for those under the age of 21, and that's what it still is until today. So the advantages of it staying like put is it keeps young kids off alcohol, and it makes it harder for kids to get a hold of alcohol. And if you think about it, if like the drinking age was 18 and you're like a freshman in high school, there's like a bunch of 18-year-olds. So imagine if people were like had easy access to alcohol in high school. That totally changed the game. Totally changed the game. But it also making it 21 prevents anybody in high school from being able to legally drink or purchase alcohol, and that definitely helps keep people like safe. And it like the age of 21, the drinking age of 21 keeps young, inexperienced drivers from being able to drink and drive. And that's very good because some stats are teen alcohol abuse kills more than 6,000 teenagers a year, which is the most of any drug. And that's probably because it's the easiest to get of any drug. 1,900 teens die from alcohol-induced car accidents, and there's around 300 suicides due to alcohol in teens every year. So thinking about that, alcohol really affects young people, young developing people, and it's not very good for their influences or like their goals. there's another like stat. High school students who use alcohol are more likely than their peers to drop out of school or to think good grades aren't important. Sure, it's not the case every time, but there's a more likely that they think they know everything because hey, they can drink, they're tough, what yada yada. That they don't need to stress the importance on grades and stuff like that. And another stat, according to the Center for Science in the Public Interest, 44% of students attending four-year colleges drink alcohol at the binge level or greater. The binge level is like when people just drink as fast as they can, as much as they can, to get really like drunk. And I don't know, I guess it's fun. Many people think it's fun. In college, drinking age still 21, and that influences like people to go to parties because the freshmen and sophomores and juniors can't get their own alcohol, so they need to go places where they can get it. And then Fox News reports that 157 college-age individuals, which is approximately 18 to 23, drank themselves to death from 1999 through 2005. So that's a lot of people, but you think it would be more. The health reasons for keeping it at 21 is because alcohol is dangerous to the developing brain, and the brain isn't fully developed until you're 21, so naturally you can see how the minimum drinking age and like scientists made that work, so it'd be best for everybody involved. Drinking small amounts of alcohol can offer some protection for people at risk of heart disease, so there's a small little blimp of hope in there, but I don't know why that's there. Large amounts of alcohol can increase the risk of stroke, high blood pressure, and other conditions. This is because alcohol gets you flustered. It really damages the brain, stomach, liver, kidneys, and muscles, and it can lead to addiction, which is very big deal. Alcoholism is very serious, and almost half of people who start drinking before 15 eventually become an alcoholic. So that goes to show that the earlier you start, the more likely you are to become dependent on it. So that's why they stress the importance of waiting until you're mature and you're ready and you've been around, I guess, for a little bit and you know your limits before you can start purchasing alcohol. A little bit of science behind it. Teens who use alcohol develop smaller frontal lobes, and what the frontal lobe part of the brain is, it controls emotions, personality, motor functions, problem solving, memory, and language. So just going down that, teenagers are usually like rebellious and like spontaneous and do crazy stuff anyway. So if you have something affecting their emotions, which they're not really stable with that anyway, personality, they're going a little crazy all the time, their motor functions, their problem solving, like all that stuff really can affect how they are in the classroom, their family, their parents, all that stuff. That's a pretty important time of their lives when they're trying to get to college and try to figure out who they are and what they want to be. So alcohol just does not help. Alcohol also affects the hippocampus, which controls learning and memory. And every day, emergency rooms take over 500 patients, which are related to underage drinking emergencies. So every day, 500 people under the age of 21 are taken to the emergency room because of alcohol, which means that everybody under 21, not everybody, but many people cannot control themselves with drinking under the age of 21. A final reason to keep alcohol legal for minors is the association it has with violence and like destructive behavior. According to Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, alcohol is associated with an increased risk of hazardous sexual behavior, drug abuse, and alterations to the structure of the brain. 86% of homicide offenders, 37% of assault offenders, and 60% of sexual offenders were using alcohol at the time of the crime. So those are three huge offenses are under the influence of alcohol at the time they commit the crime. So when you consider that adolescence is a time of great impulsivity to violence and destructive behavior, the dangers of legalizing alcohol amongst minors is real. Real. Now, all the reasons people bring to why the drinking age should be lower are, here's just a couple, I'm going to just rattle them off. The age to register for the Army is 18, so people say, you want me to fight for my country, but I can't even drink, and that's, I guess, a valid excuse. You're going to give them a gun, but they can't even, like, have a beer or something. But at first glance, you think, yeah, that's crazy, but keep in mind that the military actually does allow soldiers to drink even if they're 18, 19, if they volunteer and they're under extreme supervision in a highly targeted fashion. And thinking about like the gun point, people in the Army are trained super highly in the area of like controlling the gun, but teens are never really controlled with how to control themselves when they're drinking. So that's very. The minimum age to purchase a rifle or shotgun is 18 in most states. So yeah, you can still buy a gun, but you can't drink. You can buy tobacco products at 19. You can vote at 19. And if you look at other countries, many other countries' drinking age is 18. So people were like, why? Why can't I drink when other people can? And just not a valid excuse. The drinking age shouldn't be lowered because of three very real risks: drunk driving, alcohol like poisoning, and the violent and destructive behavior of the minors using alcohol.